Hi, my name is Dr. Michael Batu, and today we're going to talk about production in the short run. And what we're going to do in this video is we're going to compute average products and marginal products. So before we begin, I'm going to write here information that we need to compute marginal and average products. All right, so now we have information on quantity of labor and total product. What this information tells us is the following. So let's say you're a firm and you're producing a particular product. You use labor inputs to produce that good, and the amount of goods that you can produce out of this amount of labor is given by this column called TP, or total product. So how do we compute for average product of labor? Well, the average product of labor is simply your total product divided by your quantity of labor. So for the first entry, since it's 0, so we can ignore this. For the second one, so if we're to use 1 unit of labor, we divide 3 by 1, so it's going to be 3. 7 divided by 2 is 3.5. And we can repeat this computation for the other levels of L. So now we have our information for our average product of labor, APL. And again, we computed this by dividing TP over L. What about the marginal product of labor? Well, the marginal product of labor is simply the change in total product with respect to a change in your quantity of labor inputs. So all we need to do is simply find the change in TP, which is simply the difference from, let's say, from 0 to 1. Okay, so we're using 0L, and now we're using 1. So we need to compute for the change in total product out of increasing our labor input. So for that case, it's going to be 3 minus 0. So that's our change in TP, divided by change in L, which is 1 minus 0. And that should give us, for the first entry here, for L equals 1, will be 4. Oh, sorry, it's equal to 3. Sorry, it's equal to 3. So 3 minus 0 over 1 minus 0 is 3. And similarly here, 7 minus 3 divided by 2 minus 1, we get 4. We have 13 minus 7 divided by 3 minus 2. So we have 6. And we can repeat this computation or this method for the rest. So now we have our marginal product of labor, although you can see here that it's not aligned, but it's fine. We have here the numbers. Now, what do you observe with respect to these numbers? Well, first off, what we see is the following. As we increase our labor inputs, we see that our marginal product of labor increases, which means that these labor inputs are productive, okay, but only at some point. Meaning that after a certain level of L, the productivity of this labor input starts to decline. And where is that? Well, we see here. So the highest value for MPL is 25. And after that, it starts to diminish. So 25 here, I think this is, if I'm not mistaken, so 18, so that's when it starts to decline. So the peak is at 25, so it starts to decline at 18, and that's at L equals 8. So if I will label this, just to indicate where the diminishing productivity of labor starts to happen. So it starts to happen at L equals 8. Also, at L equals 8, which is right here, we notice that average product of labor is at its maximum. So we see here 3.5 starts to increase until it gets to its maximum of 12.3, and after 8 it starts to decline. So there are two things again in summary. Number one is that at the point where average product is at its maximum, marginal product of labor starts to decline. And that's where diminishing marginal productivity of labor starts to kick in. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you learned something. Thanks for watching.